I was at the gym this morning, and I got a buddy. I actually used to work with him for a long time, so he's a pretty pretty good friend. And he tells me, he said, "Hey, I've been listening to your new show, and it's like I like it. At first, I thought it was going to be a podcast about black tech, and then after I listened to a few episodes, I realized it's just a tech podcast. So I had to give him some heat over. What do you mean, just a tech podcast? He's like, oh no, it's actually really really good. But your show is a show about tech, and what makes it different is that you just talk about tech from your perspective. All right, how did he say it? I think he said it through the lens of your perspective, I think is how he said it. He's like, and it's really interesting because there's things that he's a product manager by trade. So there's things that I've just never thought about that I now think I need to think about when I'm putting my products out. So I'm like, okay, there's at least one person out there who's getting what we're trying to put down.
I mean, but did he think we weren't going to talk about it from our perspective?
Well, we didn't get deep into the conversation.
I'm not understanding why he was surprised that.
Well, so because I hit him with that. That his surprise wasn't that it was that he thought that we were talking like we were going to be a show where we are specifically highlighting like black tech, like we're going to be talking about like just black developers or black projects or thing like that. Okay. So that's what he was thinking when he was going into it. When somebody told him, it's like, oh yeah, Robb, and he's got a crew of friends that are doing a show. I think that's what he thought going in. He's like, oh wait a minute, no, this is not what that is. This is your regular tech show. Like any other tech show, but what makes it different, what makes it interesting to me as compared to the myriad of other tech shows that are out there, is I actually get to hear tech from a different perspective, which is what I think we were really trying to go for.
Yeah.
So he was like, because he was expecting every show was going to be black story. And we do that when we need to do that. But we, at the heart of what we do, we are all tech heads. We talk about tech, but we just give it to you from our lens. I like how he said it's like, from your lens. And he was like, yeah, that's not something you hear every day. We need more of it. And he was really harking back on to our first episode, because I think a lot of people, when they start a new show, they kind of go to the beginning. Mm-hmm. And so he was listening to our episode 0 where we were just talking about all the AI stuff. He was like, you know what? And he is definitely an ally. He's a pretty cool guy. He was like, yeah, just something else that I just never even knew to think about. And it's like, he says, I'm certain that I'm biased unconsciously on a lot of stuff, because there's just things I just don't think about. It's like, I probably would have, if I had to create, like this is the conversation we got into. He's like, if I got to create a sensor for a hand dryer, I can't not know now that I need to make sure that I want to make sure that it works for all skin tones. Mm-hmm. But I can't tell you that I would have just come to that on my own and thinking about it before. Now he says, I hope I would have had a diverse enough team that somebody would have said, hey, we need to make sure this works everywhere. But he was just being real honest and saying, I don't know that I would have myself just come up with that. It's like, hey, it seems like it works to me. When I put my hand under it, we're good to go. So like I said, it was an interesting conversation. And it was unprompted. I've known this dude for 17, 18 years now, and he just out of the blue was like, hey, yeah, I really like your show. I've listened to like the first 10, 12 episodes. So I just thought that I would put that out there on Twitter and let you guys know.
All right.
Yeah, listen, I mean, mission accomplished, I guess. Yeah, that is what we're trying to do. So, yeah.
Well, my question would be, if he would have listened to the show and found out it was, in fact, black tech, to where all we talked about was black developers and black stories, what would be his response then? Would it have been oh yeah, I'm interested to see, a show to where we exclusively highlight and emphasize and discuss black tech developers, black tech owners, black tech CEOs, black, whatever the case may be? Or would it have been I wanted
that's
to.
not really for me.
That's not what
really
I'm
Well,
looking for.
well, I will say it like this. He went into it thinking that's what it was, yet he still listened and found out that it was something a little different than that. Mm-hmm. So like I said, the deeper conversation was like, yeah, you guys, when there is a story that you need to highlight because it absolutely affects your community, you bring that up. But it's like, but I might hear about a new phone. I might hear about what Google's crazy stuff they're doing. I might hear about another reason not to like Facebook. He's like, yeah, it's a tech show. It's just different voices, different. Like I said, I like how he said it's just a different lens that I am viewing this show through. I'm getting your perspective on stuff, and like I said, we know each other very, very well. He's
You would invite him to the cookout.
Yes, and he has been invited to the cookout. So, like I literally he lives probably 10 miles from me. I'll go hang out at his house. Hang out at his parents' house. They're cool too. So he's a good guy. Like I said, somebody I consider to be a friend. But I just thought that was a interesting tidbit that I would just kind of throw out there. And it's like, hey, at least one person is getting what it is that we're doing.
Picking up what we're
Terrance,
putting
I
down.
thought exactly what you said. It's like, what if it was what you thought it was? But the fact that I had to think about that, it's like, wait a minute. If it was what you thought it was, you still came to listen to see what it was. So, and actually discovered through listening. Like he said, yeah, I've been binge listening. I've gone through about 10 episodes over the last couple of weeks. So I just thought that was cool.